Hi everyone, welcome to yet another session of 12 Minutes to CLAT. My name is Dhanya Prasad and today I will be discussing with you a very important and relevant topic, landmark Supreme Court judgments on issues relating to the COVID-19 pandemic and the nationwide lockdown. As you all know, the COVID-19 pandemic has been threatening the whole world for the past few months, and things have not been very easy for countries like India. There has been an adverse effect on public health, economic, and social conditions. So, in order to overcome and manage these challenging circumstances, the Supreme Court of India took notice of certain issues and gave out certain directions and guidelines through these cases. Okay, and my task today is to give you a basic idea, a brief idea about these cases that came out after March 2020. This might be useful for you when you prepare for the current affairs section as well as legal section for UG CLAT. So let's begin. I will be discussing 5 main cases today, and one thing common about all these cases is that in all of these cases, Supreme Court took suo motu cognizance. So to explain what suo motu cognizance is, it is a legal mechanism by which the Supreme Court under Article 32 of the Constitution and the High Court under Article 226 of the Constitution can take up matters on their own, even if there is no aggrieved person approaching the court. Okay, so all these cases have been suo motu petitions, and because usually such cognizance is taken in matters of great public importance. So let's start. The first case is in re guidelines for courts functioning through video conferencing during the COVID-19 pandemic. The judgment was pronounced by a three-judge bench. The objective of the Supreme Court was to ensure a balance between containing the virus spread or the transmission of virus in the country, especially in court premises, but at the same time ensure that the functioning of the courts was effective during the period, and also that legal justice was served on time. Now, in order to implement the objective or to attain this objective, what did the court do? The Supreme Court gave out certain directions. These directions were given under Article 142 of the Constitution. Now, the directions were as follows. Firstly, it was suspension. There was a direction for suspension of hearings in congregation. There is no physical hearing was supposed to happen. Secondly, use of video conferencing technologies in courts of the country. And then thirdly, the high courts of each state were authorized to bring out certain modalities and procedures to carry out and to properly and effectively implement these directions. Now, arrangements were also to be made to ensure access and facilities for all the clients as well as the lawyers, and setting up of help desks were also directed by the Supreme Court. Now, these directions were mainly applicable to hearing proceedings, while evidence were allowed to happen in courtrooms, ensuring that the COVID norms and protocol was followed. Okay. Now, this is the first case. Now, let's move to the second case. The second decision, again a suo motu petition, was in re contagion of COVID-19 virus in prisons. Okay. Now, here the Supreme Court took notice of the risk of rapid spread of the virus, the transmission of the virus in prisons of the country. So directions were issued under 142 to concerned authorities like the Chief Secretary, administrators, Home Secretaries, and Director General of all prisons and social welfare departments. And the directions were to ensure that quarantine facilities and treatment facilities were to be provided in all prisons of the country, and also to follow the protocol, the social distancing norms. All these were to be followed in prisons. So these were all to be ensured by the concerned authorities. Now moving to the third case, that is in re-contagion of COVID-19 virus in children protection homes. So this is very similar to the second case, that is with respect to the prisons. Here again, directions were issued by the Supreme Court to concerned authorities like the Child Welfare Committee, the Juvenile Justice Board, courts, children courts, etc. Responsive as well as preventive measures were supposed to be taken. So these three cases, the first three cases were a sort of precautionary measure. Okay. Now the next two cases was as a result of happening of certain unfortunate events and incidents. Now the fourth case. Let's move to the fourth case. In problems and miseries of migrant laborers. So we would have all read in newspapers and seen in news channels and social media images and videos of hundreds of persons hundreds of migrant laborers walking to their homes, walking to their hometowns, okay, from cities like Delhi. Sudden announcement of the nationwide lockdown without an anticipation or without a warning, it led to the complete stopping and complete shutdown of all public transportation like the railways or the bus, interstate bus, everything was stopped. So the migrant laborers, they had no other option but to walk to their hometowns. So these were all incidents, and the Supreme Court took note of this matter, and they issued notice to the state governments, and again a set of directions were passed by the Supreme Court. Now what were the directions? First one was to ensure the state governments had to ensure that transportation facilities were provided within a period of 15 days. It was to be provided within a period of 15 days. Then a complete list of all migrant workers in the respective states was to be prepared. Formulation of employment as well as welfare schemes was to be done by the state governments. Then the railways had to provide special trains called the Shramik train. It was called the Shramik trains, and the state governments had to bear the cost of tickets to ensure that proper facilities were provided, proper food and water was provided to the migrant workers who were being transported or who were traveling to their own states. Okay, so these set of directions were brought out under Article 142, and the decision came out, the judgment came out in May 2020, and this was a 3-judge bench decision. Okay. Now, moving to the final case, that is the proper treatment of COVID-19 patients and a dignified treatment of dead bodies in hospitals. So here, this was pronounced by a 3-judge bench in the month June of 2020. Okay, so the Supreme Court, again, it was a suo motu petition. It was a reaction to the pathetic conditions and shortcomings that the COVID-19 treatment facilities and COVID hospitals were, suffering from. And because of the lack of facilities, the patients were suffering, and their basic human right, basic fundamental right to life, right to human dignity was being violated because of these drawbacks and shortcomings. So again, a set of directions and guidelines were brought out, where expert committees was to be expert committee was to be constituted. The state government was responsible for this. Such expert committees had to carry out frequent inspection of these COVID hospitals. CCTV cameras were supposed to be installed in all of these hospitals to ensure transparency. Over and above all this, the Supreme Court also gave out directions regarding the testing, how the rate of testing had to be improved, then how the dead bodies were to be handled, the dignified handling of dead bodies, then discharge policy that was to be followed. So all these were part of the special directions that the Supreme Court gave out. Now, in addition to this, there were also other issues that were addressed by the court, like extension of limitation period for court proceedings, then regarding payment of salaries and rents and wages during the period of lockdown. then about the protection of interest and welfare of public health workers, and then the famous cancellation of the CBSE board exams and other university exams, then the regarding the conduct of religious festivals like the one that happened in Orissa, that is the Puri Jagannath temple festival. So these are all a few unprecedented situations that the Supreme Court had to deal with during this period of COVID-19 pandemic, as well as some of these issues arose due to the nationwide lockdown. So I hope you guys found this discussion and session useful, and good luck with your preparation. Thank you.